This is the first tweet ever tweeted on Twitter by its co-founder Jack Dorsey. और एक दिन उसको लगा कि it will be a good idea to sell it. And some jhingur actually bought it for 21 crores 33 lakhs 40,123 rupees or 79 paise. When I read this, I was like, what the fuck? What does it mean to buy a tweet? And which nutjob would buy it for 21 crores? But it turns out कि आजकल एक बहुत ही अजीब सा ट्रेंड चल रहा है and it is absolutely wild.
Holy! Shocking, insane, a new world, and pigs are flying.
Just like mind-boggling.
Jesse made headlines the other day when he paid $208,000.
Top shot moments from your favorite NBA players have been
behind this latest craze.
Just like this cat gif, someone bought this rainbow shitting Billy for nearly $500,000. Like this basketball shot, this image, और दूसरे बहुत सारे digital art. But इनको खरीदने का क्या सेंस है? Do you like get exclusive rights to use it? How's that even possible? Apparently these are called NFTs and it is kind of become a thing.
After selling for more than $980,000.
Unstoppable financial vehicle that's going to take over the world.
I get that, but what is it, man?
Apparently cryptocurrency. Everyone's making so much money. Can you please explain what's an NFT?
NFTs may seem to be about these silly things like the Satrangi Billy, but it is in reality something way beyond. It is about why we value things and why we trust things and how it is getting completely redefined by technology. लोग कह रहे हैं कि this technology has the potential to end world hunger. Or to push us towards climate catastrophe. But first things first, what are NFTs? NFT का मतलब है non-fungible token. I know it sounds really fancy, so let's take it word by word. The word fungible has a technical definition, but it essentially means replaceable. चीज़ें या तो replaceable होती हैं या non-replaceable. For example, अगर मैं Amazon से Kerouac की book On the Road order करता हूँ, then they will charge me some money और millions of copies में से randomly select करके they will send me a book. It doesn't matter whether they send me this book or that book or that book because they are all the same. They are identical or replaceable. But this copy here, I read it when I was going through a lot. I made a lot of notes in it, wrote a lot of jokes and poems, and it has a scent that reminds me of that time. Now, no matter how much I pay Amazon, they can never send me this exact book. In other words, this book for me is non-replaceable or non-fungible. In the real world, things are either fungible, like this tomato or Dabur Dantmanjan, or they are non-fungible, like The Starry Night or this notebook by Jim Morrison. And obviously, non-fungible things are more expensive. That's non-fungible. But what the hell is a token?
Digital tokens that prove ownership of things like digital art that you can't even touch.
This is where things get a little complex and people throw around words like crypto, mining, ledgers, blockchain, but I didn't get them.
I did what most people do the first moment they are exposed to Bitcoin. I discounted it. I thought this was silly internet money. You could mine it. It's like a golden goose. It took me about a year to really re-explore the technology. And so by 2012, I did what I tell most people to do today is turn off your phone, lock your door, and study this technology for a day. It's the best advice I could give.
Let's dive into this.
रात्रि को 12 बजे से वर्तमान में जारी
Demonetization might have been a failure, but इससे मुझे दो चीज़ें सीखने को मिली. पहला तो ये कि नोट बस कागज़ का एक टुकड़ा है जिसकी वैल्यू कभी भी बदल सकती है. और दूसरा, पेटीएम मतलब कि दुकान जाकर एक्चुअल नोट देने की कोई ज़रूरत नहीं होती. So when I purchase anything, say like this AirPod from you, and try to GPay say 5,000 rupees, my bank checks if I have more than 5,000 in my record or in my account, and it transfers that to your account. But nothing physical is actually getting transferred, right? It's not like मेरे बैंक से कोई बंदा पैसे लेकर के तुम्हारे बैंक में डिपॉजिट करने जाता है, right? It's just an exchange of information between the banks. In short, we trust banks to verify and maintain the record of our transactions, and they have been doing a pretty good job of it for centuries. So thank you, banks. Though sometimes
financial system depends on trust of
6 people have lost their lives. That's the focus of the show today. The unfolding PNC Bank scam.
The return of the banking mess.
2 अटैक आ चुके हैं मुझे. अभी जो एज है हमारी, मैं उस से मेहनत नहीं कर सकता. अभी नाम समझ.
And to solve such bank crisis, where the control lies with one or more central authorities, a lot of research was happening around the world. And this guy published a paper in 2008. But who is this guy? Well, his name is Satoshi Nakamoto, which is a pseudonym, a fake name, because no one actually knows who he is. So Nakamoto proposed, let's throw the banks away. Cool. But then where will the money come from? Who will print all these notes? Who will make sure all our transactions are properly recorded? हिसाब किताब कौन रखेगा भाई? Now think कि simultaneously कितने सारे transactions हो रहे होते हैं. खरीदना बेचना, कहीं बच्चे की फीस, कहीं पापा की दवाई, दारू पान बीड़ी. नाकामोटो प्रपोज्ड कि एक सिस्टम बनाते हैं जिसमें सबके अकाउंट का इन्फॉर्मेशन हो और सारे ट्रांजैक्शंस ऑटोमेटिकली अपडेट होते रहें. लेकिन एक मिनट, किसी भी ऑनलाइन सिस्टम को चलाने के लिए वी नीड हार्डवेयर एंड प्रोसेसिंग पावर. जैसे कि फेसबुक और गूगल को चलाने के लिए इन कंपनीज ने काफ़ी सारा हार्डवेयर और प्रोसेसिंग पावर खरीद रखा है, एंड दैट्स हाउ दे कंट्रोल एंड रन दिस एंटायर सिस्टम. नाकामोटो के इस बैंकलेस सिस्टम को चलाएगा कौन? अगर हमने इसको चलाने के लिए कोई सिंगल एंटिटी बना दी, देन इट विल बी इक्वलेंट टू अ बैंक एंड इट विल बीट द एंटायर पर्पस. To solve this, Nakamoto proposed that this system should be run with the hardware and the processing power owned by general public. Yes, anyone, anywhere, कोई भी कहीं भी, चाहे उसका जो भी educational background हो, can do this job of updating transactions that other people are doing. All it takes is a powerful computer, 24/7 electricity, और भाई कुछ नहीं करना है, बस कंप्यूटर लगा कर छोड़ दो और जाओ चिल मारो, बस बन गया सिस्टम. और इस सिस्टम में होगा आपका सारा पैसा, पूरे लाइफ की कमाई. बस भरोसा रखना होगा कि भैया ये सिस्टम सेफ है. नाउ टेल मी, वुड यू वांट टू मूव ऑल योर मनी टू सच अ सिस्टम? बस यही दिक्कत है. अगर किसी ने इस सिस्टम को रातों रात हैक कर लिया तो व्हाट इफ रातों रात किसी ने आपके पैसे गायब कर दिए?
अरे क्या बात कर रहा है?
The system will have to make sure that it is 100% secure and hack free. This is where the genius of Nakamoto comes. Nakamoto uses the processing power of these computers to create a completely uncheatable encrypted mechanism जिसको कोई भी corrupt नहीं कर सकता. This is done by making the process deliberately difficult, where the computers compete against each other to get a chance to update the transactions. I wouldn't blame you if you didn't get that at all. It is called the concept of proof of work, and it is not a simple thing to understand. We have come up with a really great analogy to understand it though, and we are going to do a video on it very soon. So if you haven't, please subscribe or check the description of this video at a later date. This system is designed to replace the need for human trust with technology, or more precisely, with mathematics. Basically, individual random computers are being chosen to collect transactions that are happening, put them together in what's called a block, and chain it using a cryptic mechanism to the previous block, which might have been created by some other random computer. This results in a network of blocks chained together to form an unbreakable system, and that's what the nerds called the blockchain. So this is a system where A, सारे transactions transparent होंगे, though you would not know which account specifically belongs to which individual. B, सारे transactions सबके पास होंगे. C, transactions हमेशा के लिए recorded रहेंगे. D, सबके पास नए transactions live update होते रहेंगे. E, कोई भी पुराने transactions को alter नहीं कर पाएगा. F, ये सिस्टम किसी एक पर्सन, गवर्नमेंट या कंपनी की जागीर नहीं होगी. So would you like to be a part of this bankless bank by donating your computer, your electric power and internet data for it?
नहीं.
Of course not. People need to get paid to do this. This is where the next big idea by Nakamoto comes in. That the currency being circulated in the system need not be rupees or dollars or pounds or any money defined by a government or any authority, but a universal currency generated by this very system. One of which you might have heard of called Bitcoin. Our own Nakamoto coined that name, and now there are thousands of such cryptocurrencies. The system pays the people जिन्होंने भी अपने computers चढ़ा के रखे हैं by awarding them bitcoins newly generated from the system. And that is how new currency comes into being, like printing money. And that's why it's called Bitcoin mining. So that's the logic behind the blockchain technology and how it is the backbone of cryptocurrency. But honestly, we haven't even scratched the surface of this. There is so much more. I mean, how does inflation work? Digital signatures, hash functions, smart contracts, a dynamic reward, so much. What if people use blockchain technology for things other than currency? Like a rich Malaysian businessman transferring cryptocurrency worth of 21 crores to Jack Dorsey in return of a digital certificate or a token that states that the first tweet on Twitter is now legally owned by him. Now to the real question. How can this probably end world hunger? Think of the blockchain. Describing it as the technology that runs cryptocurrency is like describing internet as the technology that runs WhatsApp. There is so much more to it. Blockchain is a system of maintaining the movement of information with trust, something the internet alone has never been able to do. If we have a trustable system of information exchange, then we can use this to record anything. We can bring complete transparency in the systems like political elections. We can keep a watch on the criminal history of the politicians. We can track the history of movement of property rights. मान लो कोई किसान अपना ज़मीन बेचता है, तो उसे किसने कितने में खरीदा और आगे कितने में बेचा और उसके साथ आगे क्या क्या हुआ, सबका हिसाब which no one can tamper with. And we can cut out the unnecessary middlemen and pay the person who really deserves it. It would bring visibility and trust that we never had. And some experts are optimistic that it can collectively result in an optimization of wealth and can potentially end world poverty.
We don't have to have people who are living in squalor and simply, fighting for a handful of rice every day. There's too much. There's too much in the world to live like that anymore. And I think that certain countries, I think even certain corporations are beginning to understand that. And certainly this movement, this blockchain movement, is the technology underpinning, the technology part of that mindset which exists offline as well.
But any technology is like a tool. There is also a flip side to this coin. Do you know that the Bitcoin mining network takes electric energy which is 2.5 times more than the electricity consumption of Apple, Google, Microsoft, Amazon and Facebook put together? Most of that electricity is coming from coal, which may accelerate the climate disaster and might push us towards our doom. Or maybe not. There are many other open questions with blockchain. Like, even though the system itself is secure, one can still hack into your personal account by extracting your personal password somehow. Like the influences powerful people can have on the value of this currency. Up until a couple of weeks ago, I had no clue what this blockchain stuff was. I thought it's just any other technical bullshit. But my brother convinced me to, learn about it. The more I learned, the more I felt that it deserves, if not anything, our curiosity.